The Nante experience. Mozambique is almost 30 times the size of the Netherlands, larger than Great Britain and France together. The country has a tremendous agricultural potential of approximately 36 million hectares of arable land, of which only 4.5 million hectares is presently under cultivation. A wide diversity of soil types and climatic conditions allows for a large variety of crops. 99% of Mozambique's food production is in the hands of small-scale farmers. The introduction of rice in Mozambique dates back some 500 years, but only more recently rice has become an important staple food. Over the past 30 years, annual consumption has grown from 100,000 to 615,000 metric tons. Local rice production covers approximately half, while the other half is imported from Asia. Domestic rice production is concentrated in 4 regions: around Xai-Xai in the south, Beira and Quelimane in central Mozambique, and Nampula in the north. Currently, only 20% of the land suitable for rice production is under cultivation. In Mozambique, rice is predominantly cultivated by farmers with plot sizes of approximately half a hectare and yields on average of 1 tonne per hectare. In total, over 500,000 households are engaged in rice cultivation. In its recently approved Action Plan for Food Production, as part of the government's Green Revolution strategy, Mozambique has set the ambitious goal for production to meet national consumption by 2011, or in other words, doubling the national rice production over the next 3 years. Where possible, that increase will have to be achieved by changing from rain-fed to irrigated rice cultivation, increasing average yields from 750 kilos per hectare to 3,000 kilos per hectare. In Nante, farmers and their support organisations have made a head start on the government's action plan. Over the past decade, they have raised and invested over $2 million in the rehabilitation of the Munda Munda and Intabo irrigation schemes, increasing their yields to the goals set by the government. Let's have a closer look at the Nante experience. In Nante, rice cultivation was introduced in the 1940s under the colonial forced cultivation system. When in 1961 this system was abandoned, the existing family wetland rice systems in Nante were transformed into a commercial irrigation system, and farmers were expelled from their land. After independence in 1975, the land became a state farm. But soon after, the civil conflict forced farmers to flee to Quelimane. It was not until 1992, after the signing of the peace agreement, that Nante's farmers returned to their ancestral lands and took up the challenge of development. In 1997, a new land law aimed to marry customary land rights with the need of modern states for land registration, land use and investment planning. While by the end of colonial rule, 99% of Mozambican farmers did not hold titles over their land, the 1997 law grants land use rights to communities and individual Mozambican farmers, without even the need for registration or issuing of a written title. In practice, land security through formal registration and a written title is an important precondition for communities and farmers to engage in major projects. Between 1998 and 2005, 5 out of 6 communities in Nante applied for registration of their rights, but official title documents have not yet been issued. This delay is making farmers' investment vulnerable and slowing down local development. Land security remains an issue to be solved. With its watershed situated completely within Mozambique, The Likungu River is the only major river where international water sharing agreements are not an issue. Flowing from the mountains around Gurwe, an average annual rainfall of 2,000 millimetres guarantees its large base flow, making it a reliable water source for agro-development. In Nante, farmers depend on mild flooding that plays a crucial role in soil fertility and rice cultivation. Frequent and severe flooding, followed by periods of drought, as provoked by climate change, causes damage to the infrastructure and yields. Nante's geographical features allow for an innovative irrigation design. A smart system of sluices, dikes and higher grounds deviate flood peaks into the Nayi and Tandamela lakes, protecting the downstream plains from excessive flooding and storing the water for controlled flood irrigation in the dry periods. Over the last decade, the farmers of Nante have worked tremendously hard to develop plans, attract funding, dig canals and rehabilitate water control structures. An area of 800 hectares has been brought under irrigation, increasing farmers' yields and income. Inspired by their recent successes, the farmers and their support organisations have made elaborate designs for increasing the area under irrigation, increasing the annual projected yield to 10,000 tonnes of rice. Investment in water control structures goes far beyond the capacity of the individual farmer and the farmers' organisations. Government and donor funding is indispensable. However, securing control over water and water control infrastructure through water users groups is key to success. In the low yield scenario of 1 tonne per hectare, 60% of the smallholders' rice produce is used for home consumption. Investment in irrigation schemes and production increase, as in Nante, is only justified if that increase will reach the market and farmers get their fair share of the profit. In Nante, farmers have established cooperative enterprises for this purpose. The cooperatives allow smallholders access to finance, to move up the value chain and to increase their bargaining power on the rice market. A primary cooperative is centrally located in the rice cultivating areas. This first-tier co-op purchases, collects, dries and stores the rice from its members. A second-tier co-op is located close to the rice market. The dried rice is collected, processed and marketed by the second-tier co-op, that also borrows the capital for the whole operation. While the first-tier co-ops have merely an organising and production increasing role, the second-tier cooperatives hold the borrowing and profit-making role. Profits made by the second-tier cooperatives flow back to cooperative members by means of capital investments in processing equipment or post-payment schemes. Across Africa, individual farmers need solutions for their universal problems. Individually, they have little or no collateral and are not able to access finance. By forming cooperatives, farmers in Nante have been able to develop plans, gain trust and attract funding from different sources. Donors have engaged in technical assistance and rehabilitation of the irrigation infrastructure. By reducing the risk for commercial lenders, the cooperative farmers have managed to access short-term working capital for buying, processing and marketing of the rice. To meet the government's action plan and extend the Nante irrigation scheme, an integrated multi-stakeholder approach is required, each with its own role. Public sector and donors for the infrastructure funds, long-term investors with soft loans for capital needs, commercial banks for providing short-term working capital at market rates, international donors for support of technical assistance, providers of guarantee funds. The commitment of each of these stakeholders is equally important for the overall success of the programme. In the light of the government's strategy, the Nante experience is an example to be studied and supported.